But let's go to Friday night and the Demons and the Lions. This is a cracking game of football. Both sides kicking over 100 points.
Yeah, we'll just look at this last quarter here. So a massive 2v1 win here by Pickett, and it gets them within 20 points there, and you think, oh, could they? They couldn't, could they? And then Melksham kicks this left foot snap around the corner, that's a difficult kick from that far out. This one here from Viney, that's just the sheer will to want to win the game. And now the Lions, they're in panic attack. Melksham goes back. Big kick, 40 seconds to go. He nails this, puts him in front. And it just looked like the Lions went into save the game mode too early, and Melbourne got the momentum and made the most of those opportunities.
Before we go to Brownie, I want to ask you a question, Stevie. You've coached for a long time. When is the right time and how long should you go into, save the game mode? Like, is it 1 minute, 2 minutes maximum?
I think it's probably, maybe 90 seconds. You might throw a couple of players behind the ball and try and get an uncontested mark and then try and force it to a stoppage. But, with 3 or 4 minutes out, you could still got to try and keep attacking the game. Otherwise, you risk repeat entries and eventually the opposition's going to score.
But to lose 24-point lead with 7 minutes to go, you're saying don't shut it down at that stage?
Don't shut it down.
Even with 4 goals lead?
No, no, you don't need to, because what you risk is putting numbers behind the ball, and then the opposition's going to keep winning it back and giving themselves opportunities.
Big plays at the end, making the right decisions. Collingwood do it so well. Port have done it well this year, Kane, and we know the Demons can do it. So let's look at how they did it and the big moments in this last quarter. So this is the first one. This is 3-on-1, and if Jake Melksham doesn't take this mark, they don't kick the goal. So this is the first one they get. 3 of them there. Now they run on. Now there's a 2-on-1 forward of the ball. So he has to go to Pickett. Now, Pickett can't mark the football, but this is a genuine 2-on-1. Who's going to get this football? Who's going to fall over? Pickett keeps his feet. Now that's 2 big moments. They get the first one back. So they were in 3 goals. And now the pressure starts to come for the Brisbane Lions. A long kick out. Max Gawn was enormous. Look at that. Takes a big mark, Max Gawn. Gets up, takes his time, doesn't bomb it in, waits for the right option. And then Melksham, another big moment. That's a tough kick from there. He missed one in the first quarter. Again, Max Gawn, when the moment comes, up against big players, he takes the mark, sends it back the other way. Brisbane couldn't get it out. Now a stoppage. McCluggage falls over. Now, pause it. He should have this ball. He's a bigger player, a stronger player, but Viney just wanted it more. He wanted it more. A big moment for Viney. And this one again, Max Gawn takes front position, forward ball, gets the handball out, inside forward 50. And again, a big moment for a player who's added a lot to their forward line in the last couple of weeks. But then they had to save the game as well. But they went on the attack. So look at Viney. He wants the ball. Max Gawn again, the perfect tap to get the ball in their half of the ground. Melbourne, the last 5 minutes was just flawless.
We're going to talk about Max Gawn. Let's have the discussion around him. He had 29 disposals, 5 marks, 7 tackles, was inspirational on the night. He was a different player when he rucked 95% of the match the other night. We've spoken about it the last 5 or 6 weeks that ruckmen want to be the only ruckman. There's not one ruckman that's ever really done it that well. And Kane, you've touched on it with Darcy and Luke Jackson. But what happens for Brodie Grundy now? None of us believe he can be part of their best forward setup, do we?
No, well, I think they've sent Grundy back to the VFL to try and work on his forward craft because they want Max Gawn to be the #1 ruck and do what he done last night.
I find it demeaning for what they're now subjecting Brodie Grundy to do now. To use that quote, to go back to the VFL to refine his forward craft. He's been a ruckman for 10 years. He's not a forward, Stevie, and he's not going to become a forward in the space of 2 weeks of VFL play. So why do they go down the path of recruiting him to then 17 rounds into this first year of a deal that goes to 2027 on a total of $900,000 a year, $250 of that, thereabouts, being paid by Collingwood? It makes no sense, and I just don't line up the refine his forward craft need with the decision to go and get him.
And the pitch to go and get him was compelling, wasn't it? I mean, it was a real play to get him that's been documented through the Show Me the Money documentary and Brodie Grundy's decision to go there. And it's changed. The narrative around the way that they're going to use him has changed from this time a month ago.
He's now at a club that really values what he brings to his team, and we're certainly going to embrace that. He's coming into a club that really values what he brings to the team, and we value that from Brodie, and as I said, he's now at a club that does value that.
We really value what he brings to our team. He follows up at ground level, he wins contests, he works hard, and actually looked pretty threatening at times forward today. And we want more impact forward of the ball. And the only way we're going to continue to do that is to expose them for longer. So part of the plan with Brodie is to expose him at VFL footy. They've got a practice game tomorrow against St Kilda where he'll play purely as a forward, and we'll continue to assess like that. We think we can turn that combination into a threat moving forward. and we're going to work to do it. And it doesn't have to be at AFL level.
Yeah, so repeated shots there at Collingwood from Simon Goodwin, and then the language changed after the game where, to your point, they're going to turn him into a forward. He's never been a forward. He will never be a forward. He's a number one ruckman, and he's got 4.5 years left on the deal.
Damo, I'll ask you a question. Could Collingwood pay $250, and if Melbourne wanted somebody else, could they pay $350 and then a club pick him up for a steal who needs a ruckman? Could it be a three-way pay deal for Brody Grundy, as mad as that sounds?
Yeah, look, the AFL will do what it does and have a look at that, but I couldn't see why a possibility could exist, Brownie, where three clubs are actually paying the one person's wage. I don't believe there's an impediment to that possibility, but it's not what he left Collingwood to go and do.
But things changed, Damo. So I know that's not what they came for.
Lloydie, you've been the greatest detractor on this deal from the day it happened, and you, to your credit, questioned it why they were doing it back in the trade period of last year.
Because,
so when you say things change, I don't think anything's changed. No. He's a ruckman, he's not a forward.
I know they thought it could work, and I admire the courage now to drop such a big-time recruit. And I say drop because I don't think he's going to come back as a forward. I think he's pretty much back up now, in my opinion, for Max Gawn if Gawn gets injured.
At $900 a pop, $1,000
which they thought was going to be different at the start, but it just hasn't worked.